Hi everyone, and thanks for checking out my channel. I'm going to have a look at the market ahead of the coming week, having a look at what happened last week, which to be really open wasn't really my best trading week. Got caught mainly on the metals with a continuation of the move to the upside. I was attempting to short and didn't actually manage to hold short on oil and natural gas, as we got also some break to the upside. It was kind of false breakout, so really hard to trade with my strategy for the last weekend. So I'm trying to set up something here that will be a bit more successful coming and moving ahead to close that month a little bit better. So yeah, let's get started with crude oil. As you can see, still a powerful move to the upside, but we've seen some sign of exhaustion as we reach just below 62. I got that divergence on the 4 hours that's been calling for correction down potentially to 57. Now things are not actually that easy. As we can look a little bit closer on the 1 hour, we got that divergence as well that got cleared with that move to the downside, and now we can see that it's been moving kind of mid-range of that rising channel. As we can see now, just getting that in blue, we got now some divergence and really loss of momentum on that move to the downside. So we don't have a proper morning star here, is rejection, a proper green candle following day, but that's still potentially stop for that move down. Would still be expecting a move down to 56, but at this point it's very even probability between the continuation to the upside. We make potentially a double top from here. It's very much possible at 63. We have plenty of room even on that divergence here to move and test up. We can see on the 4 hours it's pretty much the same. It's even more room, can move really much higher actually, and even go testing 63 and above without invalidating the divergence. So really, for me, it's probably best to stay away with too much in the middle at the moment. So I'll be looking at this either short opportunity at higher 62, or maybe buying down to 56. Shall we go there? But now in the middle here, I wouldn't be trading anything moving in the coming week at least. Now moving to and just looking at the, well, that's another reason why I'm cautious. If we look at the quote report and zoom in, we can see that the managed money, they keep on accumulating long position. There's still no divergence on the quote either, so it's very dangerous because still having a bit of room to move maybe 100k contract to the upside that could easily push that price much higher. So yeah, definitely being cautious, trying to short that market again. Buying at this point is of course quite risky, as it's quite expensive now. But yeah, I think I would like better level to short, better level to enter long. Natural gas, a little bit of the same situation. Also, I would feel actually better entering a long position here. I think the opening with the rollover is going to be just slightly above 3, so we're going to open somewhere there. Which is actually quite a nice entry point as we are approaching that lower end support of that rising channel that's been holding relatively nicely since the low end of January. So of course we are approaching seasonally some sort of a reversal with the injection period of season approaching very soon, but still we could have another push to the upside and potentially trying to reach that 340 level. So I'll be watching this. Other reason, if you look on the 1 hour here, there's a collapse in the momentum completely here. A really steep trend line we're having on the RSI, despite the price being relatively close. So except if we see a massive acceleration to the downside, we're going to see an open that's going to set an hourly divergence above 3. If we could get a proper buy signal with a nice green candle to follow this, then I think it would be potentially interesting to attempt to buy this market and play some sort of a move to the upside. 338. Of course, stop loss will set not too far, as we could easily break down here. But if we look at the 4 hours, we don't have a proper divergence. Usually natural gas, I like something a bit more obvious than this to call a top. So I would like to see another touch a little bit lower around the 70s on the RSI on the 4 hours, and that could easily drive the price up to above 330. Would be a nice trade, definitely. So I'll be looking at that opportunity. Should we actually shoot from here directly, then potentially closing the gap only in the first place, as natural gas is doing quite often, and then having a pullback down to retest that that trend line. So yeah, that'll be the plan. Shorting at this point is not necessarily that interesting. I don't have enough data to actually back up continuation to the downside right now. If we look also the quote report, the management, they keep increasing their positions, and they are not sitting actually, they're sitting relatively high, but still they have room to push it higher before they would actually start taking profit. So cautious on this with short positions, and I think at this point entering long is probably the safest plan. Now looking at gold, we got an interesting setup. Last week I was mentioning about that big inverted cup and handle pattern that did actually break to the downside, but it looks so far that it's a false breakdown. We've set divergence on the 4 hours. That's quite obvious here. The 1 hour is also telling the same thing. There's lots of momentum on that break. We got a falling wedge that got broken with a really big green candle. So it's all buy signal short term. The only thing is that I believe that because of the big pattern we are in, which is the weekly here, so it's not technically broken. We're still holding that 1770 support level, but we can see the moving average has been starting to move to the downside, the 20 period, and almost crossing the 50. So that scenario, I think, of a breakdown, it's still very much valid. So need to really be careful with the long positions. And we can see that the drop is still calling for a clear at 1500, which is a significant drop on gold. So we actually continue to the downside. But short term, I believe we're going to see something moving up to clear up that hourly divergence, probably triggering a couple of short squeeze at that point. But the potential is limited, in my opinion. Maybe 1820, 1820, 1840 potentially. We're going to have that trend line running somewhere there. It's not really neat, but somewhere, something like this, that will likely continue to press against that support until we see something a bit more obvious. Probably on the 4 hours with a proper divergence, could be calling for a much lower price, or a lower price at least in the short term. So careful with long position here, and short are not highly comfortable either. So I'll be staying on the sideline for now, potentially trading that short term move to the upside, but knowing the risk, that will be taking a small position and exiting on the first sign of weakness to the upside. So silver, different configuration, but also quite natural. It's moving inside that channel. We're going to see some major resistance, 2830, and some support, 2670. We're currently moving in the middle, so I'm not interested in actually taking position here. Of course, that level to the downside is very interesting here as a buy zone. 25, 25.5, we'll find a lot of buyers here. As we could look at the big picture, silver is now building up quite nicely. Oops, sorry, building up quite nicely under that big 30 level. I believe we're going to break it, but I think first we're going to see some more struggling with the price moving to the downside. 26 should be solid support, 25.5, 26 solid support, and potentially another rejection at 30 before we get some proper break that will actually take the price much higher. And finally, looking at coffee, we got some significant move to the upside. Was a bit disappointed that I didn't actually get a proper buy signal in there, so I didn't actually trigger the buy position here, while it was actually quite nice. But still, we could, at that point here, we could not see anything that was actually pointing to this. We had that trend line running really close as well on the RSI. That's not actually properly invalidated yet. So still careful with long position. I wouldn't buy at that level. It's just too close for major resistance at 130, and I believe a pullback to close that gap is very much likely inside that channel. So it could look something like this. Should the market be supporting more downside next week, 123 could be a buy opportunity. But again, I would like to see another proper buy signal before we can actually call a proper reversal. I think the breakdown for now is off the table. I got some solid support here, but yeah, I need to see a bit more here before I can actually jump in at that level. That is relatively high, but the bigger picture still very interesting on the weekly. As we know, continuing to move inside that very large cup handle pattern that we are tightening against the 134. The breakout will take the price much higher. As we can see here, that's 180 or somewhere there. So very interesting to see how this will move in the coming weeks. If we look at the court report, we can see that's nothing extremely convincing yet. The management is still very much neutral with coffee, so they're not still following that move to the upside, which is also why I'm cautious, not buying too quickly here, not getting caught in some sort of a trap that will actually get some continuation to the downside. Sorry, still inside that channel, but yeah, that's a drop at 150, and I wouldn't be risking holding such a position for too long. So yeah, that's about it for tonight. Running out of time during the week, so really hard for me to do more in terms of the videos, and I'm kind of sorry about that. I will probably have more time as we go and move moving ahead this year, but yeah, still, if you want to reach out, you can contact me, there's no issue. Comment on the video, and yeah, I wish you safe trading, all the success with your trading, and I speak to you soon. Cheers, bye.